Hearts continue to prove that Edinburgh is indeed maroon, and now we focus our attention to Saturday with the big Old Firm clash between Celtic and Rangers. Welcome back, guys, to Fog Football for the Spfl review show. Now, I've got a cold right now, but it does not matter because there's a man also got a cold called Lawrence Shankland. Yes, he has ice running through his veins because he's an ice cold killer in front of nets. Lawrence Shankland does not miss, and he did not miss today, tonight, or whatever day this gets uploaded. Look, Edinburgh, Derby, Hibernian, Hearts, Lawrence Shankland was the difference maker. 93rd minute, through on goal, left footed strike, round Davy Marshall into the top bins. Only Lawrence Shankland, I think, does that in the Premier League. The guy is clinical. We've seen good players at other clubs not necessarily be the best striker, but when the ball comes to Lawrence Shankland, you fancy him to score. You expect him to score. And I do believe that he is the best striker and best finisher in the league. And now I think Hearts are going to have a hard time holding on to him. I really believe that with 18 months of his contract remaining, it's going to be a difficult January, I think, to fend off competition, not just from the Old Firm, but also from teams in England and teams abroad, because people will notice Lawrence Shankland's record. It speaks for itself. He's fantastic. He was the main man at a game at Easter Road. It wasn't the greatest game in the world. 2 missed penalties. Shankland and Boyle certainly wasn't expecting that. Shankland put his onto the post and Martin Boyle had his pushed onto the post by Sander Clark. Was it the greatest game of football? No, it wasn't. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it was, but sometimes the main thing is winning, and that is what Hearts done. Hearts have got a habit of winning these Edinburgh derbies. We win a lot more than we lose, and I'm happy that we got the victory, and it consolidates our place in third. So yeah, let's move on. If you want to see my thoughts on the Hearts game, you can check out the review on the channel, but I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it. We'll move on to the next game. Livy 0, St Johnstone 0. Is this enough for Livingston? I don't think so. A 0-0 at the Tony Macaroni. Look, they picked up a point. They kept a clean sheet. That's positives, no doubt about it. That's good for Livy. But we're getting to the point now where it's not really enough. They need to start closing the gap, because you just don't really see Livingston this season. I don't see Livingston putting together a run of results. So for me, at the moment, the gap between them and Motherwell, I believe, is 4 points. Then I think it's 5 points between Livy and St Johnstone. Had Livy lost this game, it would have been 10 points between Livy and St Johnstone, and that for me is an uncatchable amount. There's no way Livy are going to come back for that. This is a Livy side that can barely get a win. They aren't going to go on a win and run. I think Livingston need to start picking up wins here and there and at least try and close the gap, because if the gap gets bigger, this isn't a Livy side where you can see them winning like 2 or 3 games in a row to bring them out of trouble. I just don't see that with this Livingston side. So I think if they fall too far behind, then they are doomed, because like I said, they don't look like winning single individual games, never mind going on a win and run. They don't look like a team that can go on and win consecutive games. So I think they need to close the gap. I think they need to do it soon. This was a good chance at home against the St Johnstone side that, aren't great. They've got a lot better under Craig Levein, but they're still not a great side. They're one of the more winnable teams in the league, and I think Livy will look at this as a big opportunity drop. Now, at least they didn't lose, but the 0-0, I just don't think it's enough. I think they needed to get a result tonight, but at least they didn't lose. That's the only positive you can take for that. And they kept the clean sheet. They only needed 1 goal. 1 goal would have got them the win, and I think that's what's disappointing. It's not like, it was a score and draw. They actually kept St Johnstone to a clean sheet. So had they got 1 goal, just 1 little goal in 90 minutes, they would have got big 3 points, but it wasn't to be. There was a Aberdeen game was postponed, so we're not going to talk about that. St Mirren, their good start to the season, beginning to fall away. Kilmarnock were known as a team that just could not get good results away from home. We look at their last 4 away games now. They've kept 4 clean sheets in a row. They've won 2 of those games by a goal to nil. They're still not scoring lots of goals, but they've picked up 8 points out of their last possible 12 away from home. 2 draws, 2 wins. You cannot ask for much more than that. I said that if Kilmarnock can improve their away form, then they will be in with a really good shout of getting 3rd place. And I think that is the case now. I think that Kilmarnock will challenge Hearts. I think it's going to come down between these two. And if Kilmarnock keep getting results away from home with their good home records, I think they can push Hearts all the way and potentially even get that 3rd spot. They've got Derek McKenzie. He knows how to finish in those top places in the league. And I wouldn't be surprised if he does it again. Massive win for Kilmarnock. As for St Mirren, they're going to be okay this season. I think they're going to finish top 6, but at the start, people were looking at them to finish 3rd, maybe think they could be clear, best of the rest, and maybe, just be on their own, really, in a league of their own. But, that's not happened now. I think the St Mirren bubble is beginning to burst. They would have took this if you offered St Mirren this at the start of the season, this position. I've no doubt they'd have been more than happy with this. But, I just think maybe 2 months ago, people were possibly expecting that this could be something magical for St Mirren this season, but it looks like they're going to have to just settle for a top 6 finish, because I don't think they're going to catch Hearts and I don't think they're going to catch Kilmarnock. So, that's my opinion on that. And as for the Tuesday game, a game we've already reviewed it on this channel. It was Celtic 3, Dundee 0. Trevor Carson did not have a good game. He did not cover himself in glory. In fact, I think he covered himself in shite. Maybe he covered his gloves in butter, because he had slippery fingers. He was letting anything in. The guy, he pulled off a couple of okay saves, but it's the saves that you expect him to make that he didn't make, and that's a disappointing thing. But look, Celtic dominated the game. They deserved to win, but I felt they were fortunate with their goals, because Trevor Carson certainly gave them a helping hand. But big win for Celtic. Obviously, Rangers' game against Ross County was also postponed. So Celtic, it's difficult. How do you look at that? First, we'll look at the league table, but the Celtic game going ahead and the Rangers game getting postponed, it depends how you look at it. You could argue it's a positive for Celtic because they get 3 points in the bag, and now Rangers are playing catch-up. And Rangers are going to go into this Old Firm game now with no possibility of going top of the table. Had Rangers beat Ross County, they would have went into Saturday's game knowing a win would take them above Celtic. Now that's not the case. Best case scenario for Rangers is that they win on Saturday and they just reduce the gap to 2 points with 2 games in hand. Now, that would be fantastic if Rangers can do that from their perspective, but it just felt so much bigger, I think, going into this Old Firm game with Rangers actually having a chance to go above Celtic. For me, that just felt like it was more important, and it felt like it was adding something to the game. So I think that has benefited Celtic a little bit in terms of Rangers can now no longer overtake them coming out of the Old Firm game, no matter what the result is. However, you've got to look at it from a Celtic standpoint. It's maybe disadvantaged them because Rangers now will have a rest here. They will not play this game, and it means that they have basically just not played midweek. They should be fresher, they should be fitter, and if you look at it from that perspective, then it's probably a plus for Rangers. So it's interesting. Personally, I think you'd rather the 3 points on the board, but if having this game off, if having a couple of extra days rest can be a difference maker, then we'll see. But Celtic currently top of the table, 48 points. Rangers 5 points behind, 2 games in hand. Then it's Hearts on 32, Kilmarnock on 30, St Mirren 26, Hibernian 24, then Dundee, Aberdeen, St Johnstone, Ross County, Motherwell and Livingston. If you look at these teams, it is pretty strange. You've got Dundee and Aberdeen have quite a few games in hand over the teams above them. Aberdeen have 4 games in hand over St Mirren. They're 7 points behind. If they get a good run, they could go above St Mirren. You look at Dundee though, they've got 3 games in hand over St Mirren, only 5 points behind. They get 2 wins out of those 3 games in hand, and they go above St Mirren. So they're only 3 points behind Hibernian, 2 games in hand. So this table's a little bit misleading. Dundee and Aberdeen, if they can win their games in hand, or even just get good results, they could find themselves in the top 6. So, very close. but it's a good league this year, and I think it's going to go down to the wire. I expect the title fight to be close. I expect the battle for the European spots to be close. Unfortunately, I don't really expect relegation to be close right now because Livingston just sucks so bad, but I hope it's close because it's interesting when you get to the split and then even the final day and there's things up for grabs at both sides of the table. That's what you want. That's what you want, a competitive league where the top spot, you want the title to be contested right down to the wire. You want the European spots to be contested, and you want the relegation spots to be contested. Nobody likes it when we get into, like, the split and pretty much everything is decided and it's like you're just playing a bunch of dead rubbers. That sucks. So, yeah, looking forward to Saturday. We'll be here. Big game on Sky, of course, Celtic Rangers. Looking forward to it. Should be an absolute cracker. And, yeah, we'll see what happens. Who am I going to predict to win that? I don't know. I think it's a 50-50 tie. Right now, I can't really split them. I think it's 50-50. But I tell you what, Shankland, you put him in either team and they go massive favourites because Shankland really is that good up in front. And with him up front, it's going to be hard to see Hearts not finishing third, in my opinion, in the league. But I do expect Kilmarnock to push them. That's it, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Until then, been Fog Football. Thanks for watching and peace.